Okay, if you're green and I'm green, then it's green. Let's get it. Alrighty, welcome back. Say Something family. We got another show here. Excited to be here with y'all. Obviously we got some cool sports stuff coming up. We got football being back, so
yes, sir.
It's always a fun time to get into as we progress into the football season. And we got some other things to talk about as well today. But as we always do with every show, we want to check in. So make sure you take time right now. Check in with somebody, send a text, look to your right, look to your left. If somebody's near you, you never know when a quick what's going on, what's up, a check-in might make a difference. So, Mitch, tell the people how you're doing before we get going on today's show.
I'm doing very good. Just been doing a lot of extracurriculars in terms of the filming and getting out there, trying to do some hikes, do some other YouTube work as well. But definitely happy to be back here. Looking forward to doing some more social media for the Say Somethin Show. So make sure y'all check in and tune in for other outlets as well, because we will be coming to you with some shorts in Instagram, TikTok, all over. So I'm just excited to dive into that and give y'all more content.
Be ready.
But how you holding up?
I'm good, man. So back in full, with the school and the internship, brand new internship. So it's been nice transitioning in, meeting new people, getting acclimated to the new role and whatnot. And school hasn't really gotten into the full, kick of things. It's kind of still the introductory period. It's been chill and I'm enjoying it. I feel like it was so far, seems like it was a good selection in terms of that internship. So excited about that, just like I'm excited to be here with you and with my boy Reek behind the camera.
Reek.
Yes, sir. Ready to have a good show, with the Say Something fam and talk about some sports.
Got football season back, baby.
Man, never better. So why don't we jump right in? Obviously, as we said in the intro, the NFL is back. Football is back as well, college football. But we're here today to talk about NFL professional football. As Mitch just said, crazy start. Crazy start. Why don't you tell them a little bit about that? Obviously, I'll just say real fast. Obviously, we had Eagles going against the Cowboys to start things off. Why don't you go ahead and break a little bit about what you mean with that crazy start?
Man, it all started off before the game even started. We didn't even have one play. We just had the kickoff happen. Immediately, somebody down there be down for the whole season.
Man.
With a knee injury. Then you look off to the side, and these guys are just in their huddles. And now that we got a hot poop.
Man.
We got a hot Tua situation. I've been seeing some memes. They had a hot Tua girl spitting that deck.
Yeah.
But Jalen Carter.
Yeah, their best player on defense, pretty much.
The Dallas Cowboys basically set up their whole game plan to go around this one guy, and he goes out before there's even one play in the game. Got to be smarter than that. I mean, that's some of the grimiest stuff. I feel like it's not far out of there for some of these guys to just be spitting on folks and being disrespectful. Out in the streets, that's how you get shot.
Right.
There's no excuse for that. They show Dak spitting on the ground in front of that, but nah, when you ride up on somebody and you spit right on their jersey, right on their chest piece, that's out of pocket. And that's like one of the things that guys do, especially in sports a lot, where it's like, I'm not going to do, there's nothing we could do right now, bro. Like, just, all right, get out of here. Right. So he's immediately out of the game. I'm sure they're going to come up with some kind of consequence for him.
Got to be fined.
They got to make an example out of that. You know what I mean? You can't just be out here on everybody.
Right.
Okay? So learn from it. Hopefully you can come back soon because you are a very, very good player, and the Eagles definitely need you, even though they were able to take care of business against the Dallas Cowboys. And it just seemed like there was flags all over the place to start the game. You had a rain delay, thunderstorm delay, and right in the middle of the game. So it definitely kept all the eyes on the NFL, though, for a long time.
Absolutely.
Start off the season.
Absolutely.
Entertainment, everything you need from the get-go. Had both the offenses high-flying from the get-go right in the first half. Really only slowed down once the thunder and the lightning warning started happening. But that first half, it was back and forth. Seems like the defenses were not able to keep up. But at the end of the day, CD just couldn't come down with some catches. And,
yikes.
Really, really blew that game. You saw him taking a little responsibility for it. But, come on, man. We are about 3 throws down the line. We need you to come up with those, my guy.
Right.
That's what we pay you for.
You're supposed to be elite.
But, yeah, go ahead and you could talk about that a little bit of that first half and some of the things you were seeing out there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought obviously, like you mentioned, it was definitely a very back and forth game to start. I thought Dak looked really good. I was very impressed with Dak, which is not something that I usually say. He looked spry. There's a lot of times. Yeah, he looked spry. He looked spry back there. I thought CD actually, if we're talking first half.
Oh, he was looking like Himothy.
Played super fire. Obviously, Dallas's run defense, which, for everybody who was talking about Parsons, in that whole trade, which we might as well bring up at some point, which obviously Dallas has traded their best player on defense and maybe on their entire team to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-rounders and defensive tackle Kenny Clark.
Yeah, Kenny Clark.
Who Kenny Clark actually had a sack in the game.
Yeah,
played well. But where they've always struggled is against the run, and Parsons doesn't help against the run. As good as he is a lot of places, he doesn't really help against the run. And what did we see from Jalen Hurts and Saquon in the first? A lot of running. Lot of running. So, especially with Jalen Hurts, I mean, it just looked like he was set on doing that. He was ready whenever that moment was happening of like any space. I'm not hesitating. I'm jumping right into it. And just like in normal Dallas fashion, tons of space, tons of missed tackles. And those guys were just running everywhere. So much so that A.J. Brown didn't even have a target.
APB out for the boy.
Man.
He's on S-Watch right now.
Woo!
Hopefully he's not just only on the sideline reading books, but at home becoming more zen, because 1 catch for 8 yards in the entire game, didn't have 1 target till the fourth quarter. I mean, that what could be the reason for something like that?
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, I think, he looked a little out of shape to me. It didn't look like the A.J. Brown that we saw surely at the end of the year. And a little bit makes me wonder if, some of this is rollover from how frustrated he was last year. And obviously him speaking out on his role. And we all know what sometimes happens when these players get real loud. They might not show it up front, but there's payback. And it didn't really look like he was planned in much. And then I also think that a couple of those were just broken, like those Jahan Dotson, just downfield.
He ain't got no business. 3 receptions, 59 yards.
None. Because, I mean, you even look at Devontae, it's like 3 targets, 3 catches, 16 yards.
Bro, Dallas Goedert had 7 receptions.
Yeah, and for 44 yards.
You'll never see that.
Yeah, and nobody was really getting a ton of yards. So, a little bit can be put to the fact that Jalen Hurts in total threw 152 yards.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, especially with how good they can be in the run game. And I think adding A.J. Dillon and Will Shipley to that mix, that's a nice little triplet to go out there and make sure Saquon can run when needed. And then, I think in the second half, after, like Mitch said, there was that weather delay. I think that the defenses kind of both woke up. I think maybe you could attribute it to adjustments.
I mean, yeah, it's also hard to just come back with the same energy.
Exactly.
Whether it's offense or defense, but after a low down like that, lulled like that.
And it just seemed like defense beat him to the punch in terms of, who's going to raise the energy first. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, truly. And I think because we saw Philly with a stronger running game, as they normally do, I think that even though the defenses ended up getting stronger, they were still able to prevail due to the fact that they controlled that area of the game. But I did think Javonte Williams, 15 carries, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns for all his fantasy owners. I mean, that's a good look in terms of usage, in terms of, if he's going to get anywhere near those kind of opportunities, this is a team that should be in the red zone. So if he's on your waiver, if you look at the distribution between the rest of the running backs, next highest is Miles Sanders at 4 carries, and he also fumbled. So I don't know if he'll even get 4 next game. So I'd be looking at Javonte Williams in fantasy as well. Eagles are no jokes. Jalen Carter was obviously missed, but, nonetheless, that looked pretty good. And then, what is George Pickens going to be this year?
Who knows?
Oh, it just seems like there's more glit than there is true grit. And so I don't need the glitter and the gold. I need real people making plays. And he didn't seem like he was going to be a guy, at least at this point, Maybe he's going to get more assimilated with the offense. But just reminded me of why the Steelers were ready to let him go.
Yeah.
He just seems like a one-trick pony.
I mean, it seems like this is probably the best role for him as a 2 guy, and not in Pittsburgh as the number 1 guy.
Absolutely.
Definitely CeeDee Lamb is leaps and bounds better than him.
Yeah.
And it's clear in terms of how many targets. All right, George Pickens, it's either going to be a game where they're throwing 3 people on CeeDee Lamb and you're just going to be wide open, so you're going to have a good game this year or this time, or it's going to be a situation where it's like, we're feeding CD all day, and the 3 or 4 that we're going to give you, we're going to need you to catch those.
100%.
And that's going to be your role this season.
Straight one-on-one.
I think that's probably going to be the best for him. It didn't really show up as much in this last game. Like I said, only four targets, but it didn't really seem like it opened up anything for CeeDee Lamb. But CeeDee's going to get his no matter what. And
Absolutely.
George Pickens is going to have to capitalize when he has his opportunity.
Absolutely. And overall, I mean, I think, if there's any takeaway, definitely both of these defenses looked a little shaky in general, and especially in that first half. And so it'll be interesting to see what a full game looks like for both of those teams next time out, because I think both teams are expected to have good offenses. I think the Eagles, you would think that they would have a good defense still. But after watching that first game and after watching, these games in general, even though they weren't extremely high scoring, did feel like defenses were kind of getting, at a minimum, bend, don't break. Right.
To me, when I was watching the game, I know it's a silly analogy, but it really, for Dak, I don't know, it was just too much defense on the Philly side for him to get, substantial stats. But on the Philadelphia side, it seems like when you are the guy who, you chose a quarterback as your dynasty guy, and that you're a dual threat. So majority of them, you're going to have 144 yards, 60 yards rushing for Jalen Hurts alone, and just 144 passing. It was just a bunch of I'm doing half and half the whole time. We're getting 15 runs. We're doing 15 pass plays. We're not overloading one side or the other. I'm not going to throw for 300 yards. We're going to be very even keel on offense. And the stat line is not going to show something crazy, but we're going to get that win.
Absolutely. So, I think both these teams, they'll definitely be in a battle in the NFC East, and we'll continue to check in on them. But I was happy it was a close game for game 1, because a part of me thought, as in usual Cowboy fashion, that they'd probably get absolutely blown out in game 1, and we'd be sitting there like, are we happy football's back? What is going on? So thank you guys for a good first game. And that leads us obviously into the second game that we've had, which is out of the norm to be going Thursday, Friday. It seems like at this point, football is not really tripping off when they end up playing.
They want all the days of the week. They have a game every day.
Football every day. So this was tonight. We had the Chargers playing the Chiefs out in São Paulo, Brazil. Brazil. And they had literally a guy speaking Portuguese out there translating. It was pretty hilarious scene. But good matchup for those who know our version of football. Yeah, exactly. Chargers ended up getting the upper hand. And just like we did with the last game, I will let you begin with your analysis on how this game went, what you saw.
Like you said, this is a nice little division rivalry. Over the last 8 games, I believe it was the Chiefs were 7-1 when it was Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert. And so it's nice to see the Chargers get this win. So many times we've seen them get down to the end of the games and give it up, end up losing the game by 3 or 4 points. So many one-possession losses, so it's nice to see them get over that hill. Xavier Worthy, first 3 plays of the game, gets smacked by Travis Kelce. Very reminiscent of Patrick Mahomes hitting Rashee Rice and taking him out for the season.
Yep.
I'm not too hip on all injuries. You would know better than me, but it did look like he dislocated his whole shoulder, and he was was hanging. He was like, I'm done. I can't do this no more. Yeah, looked like they was trying to pop it back in the whole time. Yeah. So another guy who could be out for another 4 or 5 weeks, and that's just leaving you super thin at wide receiver.
My goodness.
You got Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, and Travis Kelce out there. That's going to be rough. And it really showed towards the end of this game as well. I mean, throughout the whole game, really, they couldn't get anything started. Seems like there was very rarely any separation for any of the receivers, as well as a good rush defense for the Chargers throughout the whole game.
Right.
Justin Herbert was an absolute beast in this game. Threw for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just took total command of the offense. Seemed to pick apart the Chiefs whenever he needed to. 25 of 34. Because he really didn't get much from the rookie Omarion Hampton.
Man.
15 carries for 48 yards.
I
mean, I wanted to see some more out there. Too many times that I see a 1 yard or 2 yard run. It just nothing going anywhere. I understand the Chiefs have a stout defense as well, but you would like to see more from the run game. But even through watching the game and then listening to some of the announcers, it really did seem like they decided to totally flip the game plan right when the game started. Like, oh, Jim Harbaugh, Chargers, what are they going to do? They're going to run it down our throats the whole time.
Right.
Flip it over on their heads, throw it 34 times, only rush it 25 times. So I think that probably took the defense out of their game plan. Usually, Spagnuolo is usually so good on the defensive coordinator side, but it doesn't seem like they're able to make the adjustments throughout the game. But at the same time, they were still in it to the very end. Seemed like there was some bickering going on towards the end when they did give up that first down. That kind of sealed it for the Chargers. But this is a little bit the same as last year for the Chiefs, right? Like a lot of injuries to the receiving corps. And if there's nobody to pass it to, there's only so much Patrick Mahomes can do out there. I mean, you can't keep throwing it to guys when they're getting no separation. Right. And that seems to be the issue. And the line has continued to deteriorate throughout his career over the last few years, ever since they've been winning. So doesn't look like it's working out right now. Hopefully they can figure out they have the championship pedigree. So they have Andy Reid as their coach. So I'm sure they're going to make some adjustments, but just so many injuries is very, very hard to overcome, especially on the offensive side, because the defense, whether they give up 27 points or not, they always somehow keep Patrick Mahomes close in the game to make something happen. Unfortunately, like they really relied on it this time by not going on it on 4th down when they're in the goal line area with about 3 minutes left, and they're just like, field goal, because hopefully our defense will stop them. And usually they do. Like a lot of times they have held up for them, but this just goes to show it's not always going to continue to work and go your way as much as you rely on the defense in terms of those last 5 minutes to keep you in it. So overall, it was a really good game. I thought both the defenses held their own, like you were talking about earlier, bend, don't break mentality with these defenses. And it's just really nice to see Justin Herbert, like you were saying when we were watching the game, take kind of the Patrick Mahomes approach when it came to sealing the game and just kind of got left alone to do a little bootleg and run it out for the 15 to 16 yards and get the first down and really seal it. So happy to see the Chargers get this win. It's going to be tough in the AFC West for my Raiders, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. I think this division is going to be very strong. I think your analysis of the game is pretty much how I felt. Omarion Hampton, you a yard short of making me a happy man. Otherwise, won't be watching a lot of your carries this year, buddy. But 15 for 48, you'd like to see better. I mean, that's a fair amount of work. So, we heard a lot about your juice. It's pretty dry out there today, buddy. So let's look for a little better afternoon. I'm sure there's going to be better matchups for him when it comes to running the ball. But, Justin Herbert, was 16 yards short of you.
Half as many carries.
That's your quarterback. Okay, so if your position doesn't start with running anymore, just come and holler at me. But I believe your position is running back. So I'm going to need you to be doing better when it comes to rushing. And that's just period. I think he's really talented. And all jokes aside, even the bets and all that, I do think that they're going to need more out of him if they want to sustain this kind of play going forward. I was very impressed with the receiving corps from the Chargers. I did like the point that you said earlier about what would the game look like if they swap receiving corps.
Right.
I do think that's a fair point. Now, obviously, Travis Kelce's probably the only plus going across in terms of positionally. But I don't know. I mean, Quentin Johnson looked great tonight, but I don't know if I think maybe Hollywood Brown will be a plus over Quentin Johnson in the spot.
Yeah, for sure.
I think maybe it's Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey that kind of hold the weight over there.
Right.
But I love the way that obviously Quentin showed up tonight. 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions, 79 yards. Did have a drop.
Yeah.
A vicious one. But he's known for drops, and to have 7 targets, 5 receptions, and as I said with the rest of the stats, I think that's pretty impressive. Great start to the season for him. Ladd McConkey, I'm a fan. The more I watch of this guy, he just gets it done. And it makes sense as to why they went and drafted him where they did. 9 targets, 6 receptions, 74 yards. Just pretty much a perfect, Wes Welker-esque kind of player, modern player. Bigger, stronger, a little more length on him. But, at the end of the day, very similar in what he brings to a quarterback. And then Keenan Allen, good old trusty, huh? Coming back after a little hiatus, a guy that really has a good rapport with Justin Herbert and has been a Los Angeles legend. But wow, 7 for 68 and a tutty on his way back on 10 targets, the most targeted.
He's somebody who's just steady Eddie all day. I mean, ever since he's been in the league, he's already, like you say, he's already been with Justin Herbert before. But, I mean, he goes over to the Bears, immediately a safety valve for them down the stretch last season. I think he was scoring like 15-plus points in fantasy every game in the last 4 or 5 games. He's just so reliable. He's not going to – his number 1 days are probably behind him. But, look, I'll still – while they're paying attention to Quentin Johnson and Ladd McConkey, I'll get 7 receptions for 68 and a touchdown.
Easy.
Like his floor is that. Yeah. Like he'll find a way to get in between the defense and find a hole to get into to make an easy catch for 7-8 yards every time whenever you need it. So that's what to your point. Like that's what I mean with these wide receivers. They can play the inside. They can play the outside. Quentin Johnson a little more on the outside, but when you have 2 other guys who's like, hey, should we just switch? You want to do that this time? And they both have the route tree to be able to do just about anything. It really like helps a quarterback and helps unleash somebody like Quentin Johnson, where it's like, we got to key in on these guys doing these short intermediate routes, and then they forget about the guy going downfield.
100%. Yeah, so, if they can keep that up, that is good news for the Chargers. You know what I mean? So overall, good game. I think if we're going to talk about any standouts defensively, I thought Derwin James felt like he was all over the place. The all-pro safety, 7 tackles, 5 of them solo, 1 tackle for loss. And then that number 0, Dayon Henley. Felt like he was in a lot of places. Had a sack.
Derwin Jr.
Yeah, he had 8. Yeah, exactly. He had 8 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. So that would be, and then Khalil got some good pressures in there. I don't know if
especially towards the end.
Especially towards the end. And then there was a pretty scary looking potential injury from Chris Jones early in the game, where he just really fell super awkwardly and ended up bouncing back. So awesome to see that because he's one of the best in the league. So moving on, we're going to talk a little bit of Niners before we go to the Raiders. That is our local teams, our teams we love, the teams we grew up on. So we always got you covered. And as this season rolls out, we're going to have everything for y'all as it happens. So first, I got to talk about for all of you guys who are familiar with the Niners and the faithful and everything that's going on, and potentially just through fantasy football, you would understand what I'm saying when there is a potential C-Mac hamstring sighting. Yes, I said it. It has happened. Ladies and gentlemen, the reports are out. Go grab your popcorn if that's what you like to do, watching Niners fans suffer. And if you're a part of this faithful, man, go get whatever it is you need for self-care, because until he's on that field, we are about to be dealing with all types of internal issues, okay?
What's up with your boys? Why are they doing that? Why it's like, oh, yeah, everything's sweet and peachy cream and all this, and then, 2 days before the season, he might be on IR for what is this, the deja vu?
Right. I mean, I think either it's, the old Belichick antics of just never giving anything out, or it's the whole, we know that the Niners faithful will kill us. And so we might as well keep this under wraps until, they got to be focused on the games.
Right.
But maybe we should have saw it with the Brian Robinson Jr. trade. However, we needed that regardless. Mm-hmm. We had just lost Kiner, I think his name was Corey Kiner, who was from Cincinnati.
Jordan Mason.
He went out. Jordan Mason was traded. And then Patrick Taylor also goes out for the season. So 2 backs already done for the year. So we needed depth regardless, but with C-Mac is not ready to go. It'll be insane. He did just say today, 3 hours ago, getting interviewed at practice site. He did say he feels great. So he didn't practice, however. So, if that correlates to each other, we're in trouble. If they're standalone pieces of information, maybe that's better. But if he feels great because he didn't practice, we're in trouble. So you never know what he's really saying when he's saying that. But I'd like to think he's saying, I feel great. I'm not practicing because I need to reserve myself until the game. But like I said, if you're part of the faithful, or you're part of the fantasy squad that drafted him anywhere from 5 to 11. Welcome to the party that was my after party from hell last year for fantasy, where I had C-Mac multiple times, somehow got blessed with the first pick, and I'm just not even good with the first pick. I don't even want it anymore. I'll take anything other than that. Give me second pick and pack. I'll take whatever beyond that, but first pick, I'm good. It ain't for me. And so, I am hoping for the best. I didn't take him on a lot of my teams this year. I have him on, I think, one team where I have Ashton Genty as well, same team. But just for this exact reason. I mean, I can't have my heart on the line twice for this kind of stuff, and especially if there's not going to be transparency, and we're just going to roll into it blind like everybody else is. So prayers up for C-Mac. If he's back, it's great for football. So everybody should want that. At the end of the day, he's one of the best players when he's healthy. And if he's not, the real question is, do we get everything gone and just move on? You know what I mean? If C-Mac is gone, you might need to trade him now. And if C-Mac is gone, I don't know why you keep Ayuk. I don't know why we keep the people that are centered around that group. And, of course, you still keep Purdy, but
everybody else got to get worked around.
You might be reset. You know what I mean? Ricky P.
Ricky reset.
Purdy,
let's go,
Purdy,
baby.
And, and Brock and roll.
Third and Jawan.
Yeah, and Brock and roll, baby. So, that's a little bit touching on that. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier as well, we did trade for Brian Robinson Jr. for a 6th-round pick. I think that's a great pickup. I think if C-Mac is playing, that's a great duo. I think if he's not playing, it's still a serviceable starting running back. Is it obviously C-Mac? No. But I think that it's much better going into the season with a Brian Robinson Jr. as the guy we could start, as opposed to one of these other guys who really, at the end of the day, hasn't ever been a starter. So I'm excited about that signing. Shout out to Washington, who just ran into money issues with it. Had to let him go. And what are the chances that we have the 2 guys most recently, I believe, who have been popped in the NFL? Right. Both guys who got shot in the offseason, man, they might be going to therapy together. Who knows? I'm kidding, but I hope those guys,
mental and physical,
are able to relate on that, and regardless, gel in total as a team. I think there's still plenty of talent there. But C-Mac, man, prayers up and stop playing with us, man. If it's like this, then just let us know it's like this, and your legs are gone, because that means they're gone. Because we've given you plenty of time to recover. So it ain't no, oh, don't worry, just give me this. No. If this is bad, it's bad. So just keep it 100. We still love you. It's not a problem. But we're not messing with the whole drag it on Brett Favre action with the injury. We don't want that. And so anyway, and when I meant the Brett Favre thing, I meant because he's dragging out where he's going to go. Not that he was injured, but you get what I'm saying. He's dragging things out, and it's not needed. Lastly, I'm going to go on to a schedule review real quick. We may have done this on a show a couple times ago, just where we kind of looked over maybe on the schedule release. But we're just going to do very quickly now that, the dust is settled.
More solidified.
Preseason has happened. we're going to just give you a quick look at both of these schedules, and I'll start with the Niners and just go through how I think it's going to go. So let me pull this up real fast. Okay, we have game 1 going against Seattle. I think that is going to be a W. I'm interested to see Sam Darnold play, but that's a different team. No DK. They're going to rely on Kenneth Walker. Defenses are, they're pretty good. They have Leonard Williams, some guys.
Jackson Smith, my nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Jackson Smith, he's nice, but is he a number 1? We'll find out. So it'll be exciting to see.
Coop.
They got what's the dude? Weatherspoon, Devin Weatherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. That DB, he's nice, but
Zach Sharp.
Yeah, they got some guys, but I think we should get them. But hey, if C-Mac doesn't show up, I think it really depends on how long the team knew that. In terms of like, if they're getting the news right now like we are, then they might be all shook up. But knowing how the Niners move, my guess is that if this was something that's been known, the team's been preparing as such. And so, I think we got them. Next, we go New Orleans. New Orleans has no quarterback. We'll go ahead and take that 2-0. And for the sake of time, again, like we said, we're not going to go into super descriptive pieces on each of these. We're just going to kind of give you yes and no's, the real gist of it. Arizona is next. I think we're going to cook that up. I'll go ahead and take a 3-0 right there. Nothing about that team scares me. Jacksonville. By the way, we were last year, so the schedule we have this year is exceedingly soft. If you finish poorly the year prior, you get a softer schedule. So that puts us 4-0. Then we go Rams. That'll probably be the first test, depending on if Matthew Stafford is healthy. There's all this question about that.
Bacchiotomy.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it's at the Rams too. That's our South. You know what I mean? We're gonna dominate there. So I'm gonna go ahead and say we 5-0. Next we got Tampa Bay. Man, I'm telling you right here, this is gonna end up looking biased, guys. Tampa Bay. We're going to go ahead and I could not see Tampa Bay beating us. I mean, they could play well, but we've beaten them recently as well. So I'll go ahead and take that. Another dub. That's 6-0. Atlanta's
Looks
next.
like we going undefeated as a
boy. I mean, this is the softest schedule.
Contest,
I don't think
baby.
I've ever seen a softer schedule. Next is Atlanta. I think Atlanta could be good, but I thought that they would be more of a threat if they had Kirk Cousins. But they could be a good offense. It'll be interesting to see how their defense is.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm going to go ahead and take that W. So we're going to go ahead and be 7-0 at that point. Is that right?
Hey.
Yeah.
Straight to the Super Bowl.
Then we go into Houston, which I think I'm going to give that the first L. I think Houston's going to be really good this year. And I think that could be kind of a trap game. We're going there. We're on a big win streak. So I'm going to get that an L. Next, we go to the Giants. R.I.P. the Giants. I just gave a moment of silence for them. Shout out to my cousins. I know they'll be tuned into that belt. Excuse me. So, that's another W. We'll go ahead and make that, what was that, 7-1? That's 8-1. Shout out to the East Coast. Then we'll go ahead and take the Rams on again. I'm going to go ahead and say the Rams get us one of those two, so I'll give them the one where they come to the crib. And so I'll give the Rams that, so that's 8-2.
Mm-hmm. Go
back to Arizona. We'll go ahead and 9-2 that. Then we go to Carolina.
10-2 that.
10-2 that. Then we go to Cleveland. I mean, we've lost to them before in games where we should have won.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not necessarily a gimme, but until they got a quarterback, I can't sit here and be like, they're going to beat us. Like, who's going to be the guy out there? Is it Flock? Is it, we don't even know.
Is it Dylan?
Come on now.
Quick question to intrude real quick.
Yeah.
But do you think this is all week by week? I mean, you could say this about any team in the NFL, but would you say some of these decisions are based off the past and how you guys have been, and maybe not looking at the team that's currently constructed? Because like you just said, you guys have lost to the Cleveland Browns before.
Yes.
So maybe at that part of the season, it it's like, oh, we just
dominant. I mean, they could be winning their division, and then that'd be a tougher game in general. I mean, I personally just feel like we still have so many of our core stars, the ones that matter, like the ones that are in their prime. And I really like the youth that we've infused with it. Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, a certain amount of this is, of course, being a little biased here. But, like, for me, when I really look at this schedule, like, I think that the roughest patch would be potentially Tampa, Atlanta, Houston. Mm-hmm. And that is as well conditional. Like, those teams could be butt.
Right.
Like, by the time we get there, Tampa and Atlanta could be, offers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then you look at the rest of this. I mean, sure, like Arizona and the Rams, I guess you could debate. We play Seattle at the end of the season. So, I mean, if they all of a sudden look fresh, but they've lost so much that they don't look anything like the team they used to.
So and then we're talking looking very nice.
We're talking Tennessee, Indianapolis, Chicago, closing out, and then Seattle. So, I mean, where I'm at with Cleveland, so it's 10-2 with Carolina, 11-2 with Cleveland, 12-2 with Tennessee, 13-2 with Indianapolis, and like one of these, I'll give a loss. Like Chicago and Seattle, I'm willing, because I think Chicago could be good. Yeah. Like I think they could be good this year, and that's a primetime game. So I'm gonna say 13-3. That's what I'm gonna say this year. Okay. And a lot of that is really just the schedule. Like if we had tougher teams on the schedule, I wouldn't be feeling that way. I just think that when you talk about a roster like ours that has some areas where we're undefined, these rosters are way more undefined, like across the board. And I think Houston, which I gave us a loss to, I think that's one team that you could say is a little less. And I took a split with the Rams, which I think that's one of the other teams. But Seattle's got to show me. And Arizona, that would be the one area that I would go back on and say if I was going to give one more split, it would be that. Just because we do usually give something up to Kyler.
So what is that, 14-3 overall?
14-3, yeah, and I'll even go 13-4 to add in the Arizona, to add in a split with Arizona. So 13-4.
Sounds like a good season to me, Niner fans.
Yes, sir.
What do you guys think, huh?
Yeah, Let us know. Put in the comments what you think. If you agree with my record, give a thumbs up. If you think it's something else, put it in the comments.
All right. Should I bring it back to reality over here?
On to the Raiders.
A little bit less expectations over on this side. I got to keep it realistic. There's too many years over the past, 25, that we've had unrealistic expectations, and I'm sick of it. I'm over it. So now I'm going to have a little more of a reality-based schedule breakdown right now. So starting with this first game against the New England Patriots, I'm going to say we're going to take this dub. I know this is going to determine whether we have a good season or bad season, in my opinion. Just straight off the bat, it's going to tell us how our team is. But with a lot of basically throw-in free agents on our defense and basically the same thing on our offense, free agents and new additions as rookies, it's just the camaraderie I don't believe is there yet. And I know it's just preseason, but I felt like I could kind of tell during the preseason. Hopefully they'll figure it out, come together, have a "We Are the Titans" type of season, type thing. But in reality, this is what we got going. Patriots get the first dub against them. Second, we play the Chargers. We just seen them play. Looks like they're already in midseason form.
Right.
Raiders don't usually come out of the gates in midseason form. So that's a big L. 1-1. Then we got the Commanders next. Jaden Daniels taking it to us. That's another L. We're 1-2. We go against the Bears at home, a team that we should most likely beat. It's not happening this time around. 1-3 after 4 weeks. We go up against the Colts and the Titans the next 2 weeks. I say those are both dubs. So we got 3-3, and then we fall off the cliff. We got the Chiefs at the Chiefs taking an L. The Jaguars in Florida having to travel over there, play an early game, taking an L. Go back and play the Broncos at the Broncos, taking an L. Go and play the Dallas Cowboys.
Yikes.
taking an L. So that's 4 straight losses. Went from 3-3 to now 3-7. Things are looking rough. Then we turn it around a little bit. We got the Browns. Say we get that dub. I'm assuming my guess is that'll be a Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel game. And so we will somehow take that because they just can't quite figure it out towards the end of the game, and we win like a 21-17 type game. Then we got the Chargers. I always say with the AFC, the Raiders play better. So I say we're going to split these. I say we go against the Chargers. We beat the Chargers. Then we go against the Broncos, and we beat the Broncos.
Hey.
So we have a nice little 3-game win streak to bring it to 6-7. And the back end of our season is a tough one. We then have the Eagles in Philadelphia, taking that L. Then we go play the Texans in Houston, L. Then we play the Giants at home, take a nice W to maybe even things out a little bit. But then we play the Chiefs at the end of the season. I think they're going to have a little bit more to play for. I think they're going to be more of a middling team trying to push their way into the playoffs. So I say we take that L as well and end this season 7-10.
Yikes.
Again, to try and throw a 10-7 expectation out there when repeatedly, again, this isn't 3 down seasons, 5 good seasons, 3. It's been 25 years of shit. So let's just be real here. I've just gotten to that point. Maybe it's my age. I don't know. But the optimism is not there until you show me this time, Raiders. That's just how it is. That's just how it's got to be at this point. You guys have been too disappointing. Like we talked about before, it's always one player on each side of the ball that's good. And then everybody else is, who the fuck is that guy?
Cheeks.
Nobody. It's Max Crosby on one side and Brock Bowers on the other side. Let's hope Ashton Jeanty can come up strong for us. Jacoby Myers already wants to be gone because the contract situation can't be figured out. Amari Cooper said, big gulps, huh? Whoop, see you later. I'm going to retire.
Out of there.
Don't like the way Gino's throwing me the ball. It's not really getting it to me, so I might as well just go take a seat. So we don't have him anymore. Now it leaves us with just 4 wide receivers. We have Jacoby Myers, Jack Beck, Trey Tucker, and Deontay Thornton. I mean,
half of them haven't even played.
Right, yeah. So it's like these guys have not had a lot of experience. Jacoby Myers is more of like a 2 receiver, a very, very solid and consistent 2 receiver, but not somebody who's just going to go out there and get you 12 receptions every game and be just as open as CeeDee Lamb or any of these top tier guys. He doesn't drop the ball though. You know, you can't take that away from him, but for him to be our number 1, it's tough, especially with the guys behind him. Doesn't leave much open space for him. So it's really going to be reliant a lot on Brock Bowers and Ashton Jeanty. And to put it on those 2 guys, a sophomore in the league and a rookie, that's going to be tough with a shaky line. You know, it all sounds good with some of the names that we got, but in reality, I don't know if the team is cohesive enough to really put it all together. But, you know, you hope so.
It's not an easy schedule.
Again, not an easy schedule as well.
And
as you've seen with the Raiders over the years, so many games that they could have won, they just throw away. Lack of discipline, lack of game planning down the line, lack of adjustments. So it always seems to be something. So I definitely see more of a 7-10 rather than a 10. Like everything's going right in the season. All the balls are flipping on our side, are falling in our hands if we go 10-7, in my opinion. So,
makes sense.
That's just my breakdown. You guys let me know if I'm just being too harsh on the Raiders right now. Let me know what you think their record is going to be, who you're excited to see out there, because I want to be more optimistic about the season. So leave some comments, put a smile on my face about them.
There you go. Yeah, let us know how you feel. Obviously, we'll be keeping y'all fully up to date on how things actually happen beyond our predictions. So next, we have the MLB. If there's anything to go over, as we always do, we leave time allotted for just a quick check-in. So whatever it is you got, give it to them.
Same old squads doing their thing. It's looking like the Tigers and the AL are going to be tops. Hopefully the Blue Jays aren't just going to be a regular season team this year and can make some kind of noise when it comes to the playoffs. But Detroit has such a solid rotation led by Tarek Skubal that I think they have the pitching and the defense to go along with some more timely hitting that they didn't have last season. That's really going to push them to get into the playoff, to get deep into the playoffs and be a World Series contender. On the other side, it seems like the Milwaukee Brewers are showing out. They have the best record in the NL, but when it comes to those 7-game series, 5-game series, these other teams are very much more experienced when it comes to that. And so it's more of a guessing game when it comes to the Brewers. But you got teams like the Philadelphia Phillies, the Mets, and the Dodgers who have notoriously spent a lot of money and have a lot of these key players that if we can make sure that they're all healthy when it comes playoff time, they're all going to be tough outs, even if these other teams have been showing out all season. So very much the last of the dog days. Not too much going on in terms of the wild card. The AL has a lot of teams that can still be in contention. The Mariners, the Rangers, the AL West teams, the Kansas City Royals, Tampa Bay Rays, and the Guardians all still have a great chance of getting into a wild card spot. Whereas on the flip side for the NL, it's really kind of only the Giants and maybe like the Reds and the Diamondbacks who even have a chance of sniffing a wild card spot. They're about 4 to 6 games back with only about 20 games left. Some of these teams who are in front of them are really going to have to implode if they're going to even have a chance on the NL side. So a lot of good teams. It's nice to see a lot of big bats right now. Kyle Schwarber had a 4-home run game not too long ago. He's leading the league with 119 RBIs. Cal Raleigh, crazy catching this season for the Mariners, has 51 home runs, leading the league. That's the most by any catcher ever in a season. So it's pretty amazing to see somebody that's not a position you see putting up a lot of stats when it comes to the offensive side. So shouts out to Cal Raleigh for having an amazing season. Yeah, and that nickname.
The Big Dumper.
Only in baseball, baby. Aaron Rodgers has been a little bit off and on, especially when it comes to getting out to the field. Still tops in batting average and up there with 43 home runs. So a lot of good news from him as well for the Yankees to see him starting to come off his injury. Hopefully he can help them move towards the playoffs. And then just to shout out my man Paul Skeens. He's over there on the lowly Pirates. Not really showing a lot of optimism over there. I don't know if they're going to need to make some trades, if they might even put him on the trading block to get a lot of assets back. But he's got a sub-2 ERA, which is just absolutely crazy. He's doing his thing, and so that's exciting to see on the pitcher side, especially for these young pitchers, especially after Mackenzie Gore kind of fell off after he was killing it at the beginning of the season.
And by the way, he meant Aaron Judge, not Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, wow. Too much football in the mind right now. Yeah, Aaron Judge for sure. But that just goes to show you where we are in the MLB season.
And they both played in New York last year.
But, yeah, overall, we'll see what it comes down to. It'll get more interesting, in the next couple of weeks when we're really winding down and seeing who's going to be these playoff matchups, because playoff baseball is where it's really at.
So make sure you tune in. Obviously, October baseball is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Things just get so ratcheted up in terms of pressure in every situation. And then also those matchups just get better and better. You just see like the cream of the crop. So lastly, all we got on the agenda, thanks to the Warriors having the driest offseason in NBA history.
The worst.
And shout out to Kuminga for dragging this out in the name of Brett Favre. And so, at the end of the day, what we can talk about is, there was still a little bit of breaking news, obviously not directly attached to the Warriors, but Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers are being investigated. Apparently there was a, 28 mil, 30 mil?
50.
50. Under the table deal.
28.
28, okay.
I just wanted to put some extra on.
Okay. 28 mil under the table endorsement deal where Kawhi obviously was a no-show, just like everybody else was. So if you can read between the lines, that is just paying somebody under the table and basically removing a piece of their NBA contract and putting it off the books and allowing the player obviously to still get it. So I don't want to necessarily get too deep in it like the rest of these news platforms and everybody else will until we get more information. Mm-hmm. But what I do want to preface or ask is, if this is true, is this the first time this has happened?
All right, let me play fictional character right here. Like, a lot of the things that come into my mind is when Kanye was like, "You don't know, you ain't got the answers."
Right.
This is the world we're living in right here when we're talking about this. Whew. I got billions of dollars. You don't think I know how to figure this shit out?
Right.
You don't think I know how to make some back deal? You don't think I just got here without knowing how to finagle the system a little bit?
Oh, I dropped the mill on the floor.
Come on. Let's go. We've been doing this for a while. I'm Steve Ballmer. Of course I didn't know about this.
Right.
Where's the evidence? Where's the paper trail? Where are the receipts?
Right.
Find them for me. You can't. They were shredded. Everything's done under the table. We've been doing this for years. It's not a surprise. Yeah, we're gonna act like it's not been happening. Yeah, we know everything in the NBA. We know everything that's going on. No, these guys who own the teams make more than you guys who run the NBA. They know how to get out of these situations. They know how to hide themselves. That's what his whole conversation with Ramona Shelburne was. Him being like, "What do you mean?
Right.
I haven't the foggiest. If he had some other things going on, I don't know what I don't know what Aspiration Company is. I've never heard of them. I'm a billionaire and I own a bunch of companies.
People get deals all the time, man.
Yeah, it's whatever. But yeah, in my mind, I've watched too many shows, too many movies out there to think that people ain't doing some slick sly stuff as billionaires. No matter what's going on. I got billions of dollars. I'm gonna figure something out. And what are you gonna do about it?
And then
that's just real
competition.
And competition, like
sport competition,
especially with him. Like so many owners are doing this just to I own that team.
Yeah,
he's actually somebody who's like, I want my team to be good. And
yes.
I'm putting extra effort into this because the billions are just going to come from me. I don't need to worry about my bill. I'm good. So let me focus on. Yes, I'm gonna find a way to get you some money, Kawhi. Like, I don't think it's any different with any other billionaires out there in the world. They get what they want, and that's what's going to happen. So I think that's what happened in this situation. My man knows how to finagle the system, put some fake stuff in the air, make it seem like it's something when it's not, but there's nothing to back it up. You can't find Paulo Torre basically looked at it and was like, this isn't even real, but nobody else paid attention to it before.
Right.
It's just so happened that Paulo Torre was like, let me dig a little bit deeper here.
Let me double check.
And they found out. But at the end of the day, Steve Ballmer is just going to be like, I don't know. I don't know. But if he keeps digging, he's not going to find anything else. So let's move on, people. You can try and get me in trouble, but I'm still me. So, and you guys aren't going to have to do nothing.
Right.
That's what it feels like to me. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean,
what about you?
I feel similar. I mean, it's a league of billionaires, so like, to think that there wouldn't be some like coup between all of them of here's the amount of money we all get to spend on the outside of this that we're not going to tell anybody, and we'll allow that as long as we can have on a gentleman's bet, it doesn't exceed 30 mil or something like that, right? So I definitely think that, and then secondarily, it makes me think a lot about the Warriors, where it's like, okay. I always have wondered this about Steph in those years where he was winning the MVP, making 10 mil. No way the way the Warriors are that they let him sit on that.
Regardless of if it's illegal or not, there's no way that these people who got millions and billions of dollars like this aren't able to, like you're saying, Steph, we realize you're hurt. We got you. We'll figure out some endorsement. We'll figure out some other stuff. We know guys. Right. So, we'll get you some money, regardless of if it's through your contract or just some other stuff.
Right. Or we dropped the bag on the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, so it's hard for me to think. What's silly for me is to think that they're wrapping it up in these fake businesses where it's like, I mean, why not just drop a mill? With the level that they're at, why not just, but who's to say that, they've probably figured out all the easiest routes. So that just may be it. And they just got caught up. KD, coming to the Bay, he all of a sudden had a bunch of these restaurants and things like that. And I always was like, KD's known to be a good businessman, but he wasn't doing that elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And he's still hella rooted here. And he never really left other than hoop-wise. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, And I've always just wondered what else brought that team together. Like, what else made him leave the situation he was in? And even Andre Iguodala. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's multiple times where I've looked at the way things have gone with him, and I'm like, there's just no way.
Right.
There's no way he's signing off on that if there's not Joe Lacob like, oh, did I mention that your backyard has a new hole in it? You might want to look in that hole.
I think really what it came down to is like everybody's doing this, like we're saying. I think they just dropped the ball in terms of like he didn't do anything. Like he didn't even show up for something. Right. He didn't make a commercial.
But that's so like Kawhi though.
No, totally. Kawhi. But it's just like Steve Ballmer, like you guys as the people who didn't / did do this, y'all probably have done this on many other occasions where it's like, bro, at least just go to this park and take a picture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like do something.
Wear the shirt.
And they just totally forgot that they were dealing with Kawhi, and he's just like,
I'm in Costa Rica, my bad.
Like, yeah. It's like, oh, you guys didn't force me to come do this, so I just didn't.
Exactly. Nah, and so it'll be what's intriguing to me is I just can't wait to see what this leads to regardless, because the fact that it's gone public, the conversations won't end. And so, anytime we start seeing these deals where it's like, why? There's always going to be that thought in the back of everybody's mind now of, well, we know why.
Why did Dame go to Milwaukee?
Right. He probably owns part of downtown now, and we don't even know. Why did he go back to Portland? Is an even better question. Mm-hmm. They probably gave him half a night.
Half of Portland.
Take the headquarters. It's your new bedroom. So anyway, that's just where we're going to close it today. Obviously, we're going to have a lot coming up as all these seasons are opening up. We will also have college football coverage as things progress. Tonight, we just didn't want to, as we're cracking open the NFL. Didn't want to get too distracted with other things. But as always, please remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Share the channel. Get it around. We're trying to get to 50 subs. We appreciate every bit of the love. All of the things get the algorithm rocking and rolling for us. So don't forget to show love, because we always are going to be showing love back.
Yes, sir.
And until next time, we'll see you on the next episode of the Say Somethin Show. Say something.